Hi friends and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking all about vaginal health and natural remedies for things such as yeast infections, UTIs, just general discomfort down there at times. And yeah, but before I get into this topic, I wanted to say a few things. First off, this video is not going to be sponsored, but I am going to be having 2 videos after this that will be sponsored, all in the same week. And I was not expecting this. Like, I was trying to, you know, kind of spread out my brand deals over the course of this month, but then 2 of them got pushed back, and then they all just happened to fall within the same week. And I'm just like, I'm sorry that there will be so much sponsored content on my channel for the next few days, but a girl's gotta eat. I tweeted about this and all of the responses were like, get that coin, sis. No problem, hun. We don't mind. Get the money. And I was like, okay. So I'm gonna be uploading this video in between to kind of break up all of the sponsored posts. But also I wanted to film this because I have been wanting to make this video for so long, my dudes, and it's finally time to be doing it. So let's just get into it. Let's talk about vaginal health. First things first, I am not a gynecologist or a healthcare professional, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. This is just what works for me, okay? And I have had some of these experiences, learned from them, and obviously you can find other remedies that might work for you better, but this is just personally what has worked for me. So I just wanted to make that quick disclaimer before I get into this. But the main reason I wanted to make this video is because I wish I had been told this information, and I just wasn't for some reason, not in any of my health classes. And then when I started going through puberty, I was like, what the heck is going on down there? And is this supposed to be happening? I don't understand. Mainly, let's talk about natural vaginal odor, okay? Cue every man clicking out of the video. No, I'm just kidding. But I want it to be known that vaginas have a natural odor. It's just the way things go. And so you do not need to buy vaginal washes, a douche, or anything like that. That market truly only exists because there's this like weird myth that vaginas are supposed to smell like roses and peonies and just all of the good things. And like, that's just not true. You don't need to buy any special wash for down below. You literally could just use water and it would be fine. What do you think they did before we even had body wash? They just lived with it, man. But yeah, I wanted to say that because when I was growing up, and kind of more so when I was in high school, I was a very active teen. I did dance classes, I did lacrosse, and I would go to the gym during seasons of lacrosse so that I could keep up with my agility. Oh, good times, man. But because I did so much physical activity, obviously I was sweating a lot, and then I would go home and take a shower, and I would be like, why does my vagina smell different than it did before? And it's just because you sweat, and it's literally like nature's pocket down there. It's just gonna be kind of just holding it all in. So naturally when you air it out, it will smell not like it did when you weren't working out. And it won't always smell like you just hopped out of the shower. So this is just a huge thing that I wish people knew, because I feel like everybody with a vagina has like that kind of self-conscious moment where you're like, do I stink down there? Especially in intimate situations. I can't even tell you the amount of times I have told Finley, no, we can't do that because I'm kind of stinky. And he's like, I don't care. I literally just don't care. And I just feel like that's what everybody's attitude needs to be. I don't care. This is natural. It is okay. And I'm obviously not saying don't ever shower and like smell really bad all the time. Like, I obviously keep up with my personal hygiene, but I'm just trying to say that you're not always gonna smell like roses and flowers and all of the things, okay? That's just not reality. That's a commercial. That's what ads want you to think. And all of those washes on the market will just mess up the actual natural pH balance of your vagine. So just leave them alone. You don't even need to buy them. Also, another PSA, discharge is normal. Oh, wow. What a crazy thing to hear, right? I feel like everybody's so like squeamish about the word discharge. So I'm trying to take away that stigma here because it is indeed normal. Obviously, you will know that your discharge is not normal if it is discolored in any way, if it's more yellow or more brown or any of that stuff. Probably not normal, and you're gonna know what your normal discharge is looking like. So if it doesn't look like that, then maybe you should do something about it. Also, if you're like itching down there, then maybe you have yeast infection. Oh, those things are just the worst, man. But did you know that 75% of women will experience at least one vaginal yeast infection within their lives? Oh, that's a lot of us, folks, but we don't talk about it. Why don't we talk about it? Because it's a weird thing to talk about, apparently. But I'm talking about them today, okay? Let me keep talking about vaginal fluids for a second, okay? If I get demonetized on this video for having a literal health lesson, I will lose my mind. If any of you have a period tracking app, there will probably be a section for you to track your vaginal fluids so you can understand what is normal for you, what happens before you start ovulating, and just generally so you can track what changes in your body throughout your cycle. On my app, it lets me record if my discharge is sticky, creamy, egg white, watery, or unusual, or if I'm spotting. There's a bunch of different characteristics of vaginal fluids, but the number one thing I know is that if you have very stretchy, kind of more egg white discharge, you are ovulating, and you should be very cautious when you're having sex with people and make sure that you are being protected, because during ovulation, it is your heightened state of getting pregnant, okay? Moving on, let's talk about hormonal birth control and the effects that it can have on your body. I stopped taking hormonal birth control because it was giving me many a yeast infection. And this can happen. It can kind of play around with your microbiome and just set your body into whack, and you're like, what is happening with my hormones? That's just what hormonal birth control does. Obviously, when you're taking a supplement with hormones in it, it's going to change the way that your body reacts to things. So my body did not like hormonal birth control. It could have been what I was eating as well, because your gut health is directly linked to, you know, just your general microbiome and how your vagina will be functioning as well. Those two are very much so linked together. So if you have a large amount of candida overgrowth, otherwise known as a yeast infection, then you will be itchy. Your discharge will probably be more yellowish or like just a little bit different in consistency. And that is just the level of discomfort that nobody wants to be in at all. I mean, from personal experience, I can say it fucking sucks. So you need to be able to realize, oh, this is directly linked to my microbiome. Maybe I should do more research on gut health, which I'm doing currently. Finley and I both have been getting more and more into gut health. But the number one things that I have learned about this is basically that there are prebiotics and probiotics. I take a probiotic. This is the one that I take. It is Once Daily Women's. It is a vaginal, digestive, and immune system probiotic. It has 16 probiotic strains. It is gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And they come in vegetarian capsules. But yeah, in the ingredients list, this has a whole kind of list of the various strains. A very popular strain that will be in basically any probiotic you take for vaginal health is Lactobacillus acidophilus, which can also be found in Greek yogurts. Hence why when you have a yeast infection, people tell you to have probiotic yogurt and incorporate it into your diet. Personally, I don't like eating yogurt. I think it has something to do with the fact that I ate it literally every day when I was in school in my packed lunch, and now I don't see Greek yogurt the same way anymore, okay? But back to gut health. Basically, prebiotics are kind of like, they act as a fertilizer. So they're gonna fertilize your gut so that you can actually digest all of the probiotic strains so your body can use them properly. Some people take prebiotic and probiotic supplements. Some people, like myself, just eat prebiotic-rich foods such as onions, leeks, asparagus, bananas, apples, greens, chicory, Jerusalem artichokes, oats, jicamas, kefir. That's a huge thing that you'll see if you get into any kind of gut health. Kefir is very popular, and you can find dairy-free substitutes for it. The list goes on. If you would like to do more research on gut health, I would definitely recommend it because it will just help your general well-being. But prebiotics and probiotics, that's my general breakdown of them. I'm still learning, but I know that having more of those foods and those types of things in my diet is very healthy for me. Hence why I take this every damn day, because this is the number one thing that has helped my vaginal health and helped me not have as many yeast infections pretty much since I started taking this. I don't think I've had one since. So I'm not your healthcare provider, and you should consult one before you actually start taking a probiotic. But if you're looking for one, I would recommend this one. Moving on, if you ever have a terrible yeast infection, those things are the devil. Get rid of it quick with this remedy that I personally like to use. If you look up remedies for yeast infections online, there will be like at least 10 different methods that you could go about. But the number one thing that I really like is to mix tea tree oil, like 2 to 3 drops, with coconut oil, and then I just apply it topically onto the area. But like I said, if you have a yeast infection and you go online saying, how do I get rid of a yeast infection? It'll probably come up with something like this. Greek yogurt is great, like I was saying before. But it is key that you don't get yogurt with a bunch of added sugars, because that's just going to feed the yeast and it will be bad. You could also use boric acid. Never tried it, but this healthline.com article recommends it. Also, you could use essential oil of oregano. A lot of these articles recommend putting it onto a tampon and then inserting it inside of yourself, but I would not recommend doing that, okay? In my personal experience, I like to use essential oils on the outside of my body, the exterior, and I don't really ingest them or put them on my interior. So I'd say use it topically on the area before doing that. And also, I'm not gonna just flat out recommend every essential oil to you. Everybody's bodies are different, and some people have different reactions to different things. So if you're going to use an essential oil that's kind of on the harsher side, like tea tree or oregano, I would recommend testing it on the back of your hand. And if you don't have a reaction to it on your skin, then go ahead and use it on the area, but you need to be careful about stuff like that. Oregano oil, I'm more of a fan of using for warts on my feet and such, but not really on my vagine, but that's just me. Then it says probiotic suppositories and supplements, which is what I just talked about before. If you start a regimen of oral probiotics that contain strains of the lactobacillus acidophilus bacteria, you can bring your digestive tract and vaginal flora back into alignment. So that's pretty much my number one tip if you have vaginal issues, is to maybe look into starting a probiotic, but also making sure that you're paying attention to your diet and eating prebiotic foods as well, so that you're getting that fertilizer to digest all of the things. If you hear Finley downstairs, he's doing a bunch of stuff in the kitchen and just being loud as crap. Also, something to keep in mind is that if you start taking a probiotic, it's not going to work immediately. So if you want an immediate solution, turn to something like I was just talking about with the coconut oil and the tea tree. Coconut oil is an antifungal, so it's great for that kind of situation, at least in my case. Tea tree is also an antifungal, but obviously you need to dilute it before putting it on your body, okay? Apple cider vinegar is also something that people recommend all the time. If you were to use apple cider vinegar in this situation, I would recommend filling a tub up with clean water and then putting in like half a cup of apple cider vinegar to lukewarm water and soak for about 20 minutes. At least that's what I've done in the past, and I think that I got that information from this article and it was great. But I also did the double treatment and did the coconut oil and the tea tree after. Also, people say garlic is an effective candida killer, but there's kind of like a debate over that, so I'm not gonna back that heavily. I've never used that for that. And then they also say hydrogen peroxide is a yeast killing antiseptic according to lab studies, but it won't work on every species of yeast. And then vitamin C is obviously an immune system booster, and boosting your immune system can help you fight against these types of things. Also, while we're on the topic of problems that can occur when you have a vagina, the old UTIs. If you do not pee after sex, you probably have had a UTI before. I have had one before in the summer of 2016 when I was at Bonnaroo. And it was a terrible experience being at a music festival with such a terrible, terrible infection. It basically just feels like it's burning terribly every time you pee, and it's really bad. So I would recommend getting a cranberry supplement. You can get them at any, drugstore, and take them until it goes away, and drink a shit ton of water and try to kind of just pee it out. A bug just flew and hit my light umbrella behind you, if you heard that sound, and it startled me. But those are generally the number one things that have worked for me in the past when dealing with these types of infections and just terrible things that happen to our bodies sometimes. And I know that a lot of you wanted to see this, so if you enjoyed this video or got anything good out of it, any good tips, give it a big thumbs up for me. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Ring the notifications bell if you want to be notified when I upload. And until that next upload, which will probably be very soon, as I'm going to have a lot of uploads this week, yeah, until then, stay smiling. Bye, guys.
Your pussy is God and I love it. Gonna kiss me real hard, make me want it. I think star signs mean nothing, but I know you feel right.